Right now in the Denver area, some homes are just stuck. Price cuts, 60 plus days on market, frustrated sellers. But at the exact same time, other homes are still getting multiple offers in the first weekend. In this video, I'm breaking down the 6 types of homes in Denver that are struggling to sell right now and the 5 types that are still hot. So whether you're buying or selling, you can stop guessing and actually use this market split to your advantage. But before we get too deep into these 10 categories, I want to talk about a metric that helps us understand how hot or cold different market segments are. And it's called months of inventory. And when we look at months of inventory, basically what we're saying is if no new listings hit the market from today on, how many months of inventory or homes available would we have until all the listings are completely gobbled up by the current demand schedule? So if demand is purchasing, let's say 30 homes per month, you could say if there's 90 homes available on the market that there's 3 months of inventory, which would signify that that's actually a pretty low amount. That's more of a seller's market where sellers are having the advantage in that market. Now, if inventory is up to, 6 months or greater, then that signifies more of a buyer's market where there's more inventory than there is demand. And that inventory is going to stick around for a long time. And remember, inventory doesn't stop coming on the market. We continue to have that, but this is just a metric that we use to really grade how hot or how cold a certain segment or price point of the market is. And so it's really helpful when we hone in on this, and you can see how hyper local and how different price points really matter in this real estate market here in Denver. Also, anywhere between 4 and 5 months, that signifies more of a balanced market. So if we have 4 to 5 months of inventory, neither buyer nor seller is really having an advantage. Denver as a whole currently sits closer to a balanced range, but individual home types vary drastically once you drill down. So now that you understand the inventory picture, let's jump into the first category where the slowdown is most obvious, and that's attached homes. So when we look at attached homes, that just means condos and townhomes or paired homes, anything that shares a wall with another home. And these are currently experiencing more of a buyer's market in many price points across the Denver area. And the segment of attached homes between 1.5 million and 2 million is particularly struggling. That's one of the slowest price points in our whole market, with more than 10 months of inventory currently and significantly higher supply than we had a year ago. So buyers in this segment often have more leverage in negotiations, and that leads to longer days on market for these types of listings and more frequent price adjustments. So for sellers in this price point, you have to be aggressive on pricing, and exceptional presentation is really crucial as far as staging goes and making your home look amazing online so that it creates that wow factor, because your buying pool may be small right now. For buyers, these properties can represent significant value, especially for those seeking a lock and leave city lifestyle without the maintenance of a single family home. Now let's narrow our focus to the specific type of attached home that's also feeling the chill of the market, particularly at the lower price points. So one of the toughest segments of the market right now are these downtown condos that are particularly, under $300,000, but have very high HOAs. And there's a reason why they're still priced under $300,000. Usually the HOA is really stopping that community from growing in value because it's a $800 to $1,200 HOA per month that people are having to pay. And when buyers are looking at these types of communities, they're thinking, well, I could get a really good price on this home, but most of my money is going to be poured into the HOA and the maintenance of the property, and it's not coming back to me in the form of equity. And so, if I'm a cash buyer, then maybe I'd consider this type of option because I could get a really good deal on the price, and I am paying a higher HOA, but I'm still making, money, and I'm seeing the property appreciate a little bit. But you're also worried about the stunted growth of the community, right? In some of these areas where they're not growing because of the HOA. And if I'm getting a loan on the property, with interest rates today, I'm probably only making $200 to $300 a month of principal. The rest is going to interest and HOA dues. And that's just not very exciting for people, especially when you're taking on the risk of assessments that could happen in the community where, the roof needs to be replaced, and these HOAs just are not getting insured very well in their master policies. And so it's causing a big amount of risk to go on the homeowners because they're sending that back to homeowners saying, every homeowner pay us $5,000 or $7,500 and you have until this day to do it. That's not a position that anyone wants to be in. Thankfully, there are policy riders that you can do with your insurance to cover you for special assessments, and I highly recommend looking into those if you own one of these. But it's just one of those situations where the risk doesn't quite outweigh the reward right now, in my opinion. opinion, in the market. And that's why these tend to sit for longer than other types of homes out there. Also, a lot of these buildings where these less expensive condo options are in the city of Denver, a lot of times they look less attractive from outside. They're kind of boxy, or they just don't have the appeal that some of these newer, maybe townhomes or condos have in the suburbs. And that's why people are gravitating to those, especially with the lower HOA fees right now. There's noticeably more clogged inventory in the under $300,000 condo segment than many higher priced detached homes, creating a much tougher environment for these types of sellers. Well, that lifestyle appeal of lock and leave city living remains in these types of properties. Buyers are increasingly picky and have more options to consider. So if you're a seller with a type of property like this, you have to be very aggressive on pricing, and showcasing your listing and all the unique benefits of the downtown lifestyle are very essential to be able to find a buyer. Moving away from the city center, another segment facing headwinds are these new construction homes in the outer ring commuter suburbs and large master plan communities that oftentimes are built as specs, and there's several of them out there right now that are just sitting. They're fully built new homes that are sitting because people only want to drive so far away from work and family and friends to be able to live in some of these remote communities. And so you only have a select buying pool that's willing to do that, and the inventory that has been constructed over the last few years has outweighed that demand. And so you've got just an excess amount of these homes that are sitting there waiting for a buyer. And the presence of multiple builders offering very similar floor plans also creates a commodity feel, reducing perceived uniqueness in some of these areas. Buyers in these areas have come to expect significant incentives, such as closing cost credits, rate buy downs from builders, and the resale homes that are immediately around these units have also struggled because of the incentives that are offered on these spec homes that are just waiting for buyers. For sellers, pricing these homes as if it were the peak of the market in 2022 will lead them to sitting unsold for a while. For buyers, this is a prime opportunity to negotiate hard on price and terms and get lots of incentives. From brand new homes to those that have seen a few decades, let's look at another property type struggling to capture buyers' interest. We're talking about 90s and early 2000s types of properties that have not been cosmetically updated. So they still look like 1995, right? It may look like the Home Alone movie in some of these homes, where you walk in and you see wallpaper, you see a nice red wall in the dining room, and you see lots of brass and glass, and countertops, maybe Formica. They may be busy granite, but you know the type of property that I'm talking about. There's actually a pretty good number of these types of homes on the market that have been sitting and still there. And so it's important to understand that if you're a seller that has a home like this, it's so important to just go through the process of updating the most high yield return on investment items that you can find in your property. And that's something that I'm happy to consult with you on if you've been sitting for a while in this range, and your home will absolutely sell. Buyers love these communities. These neighborhoods have mature landscaping. They're usually close to a lot of things, and buyers want to be there, but they don't want to walk in and spend $80,000, $100,000 in updates fixing everything up. And so it's critical to plan and prepare and be strategic with how you prep your home. And these homes often receive a lot of showings because of the location in the neighborhood, but buyers frequently just continue to pass on them once they see the interior condition and review inspection reports revealing deferred maintenance items as well. For sellers, the choice is clear. Either price the home significantly lower as a project, or invest in smart cosmetic updates before listing to attract a wider buying pool. Ignoring these updates means a longer time on market and likely a lower sales price. Now let's turn our attention to the very top of the market, where even luxury properties are facing unique challenges. This next segment that's struggling in our Denver market is luxury listings above 1.5 million. And it's been a really interesting year for luxury. The luxury stuff from $1 million to $1.5 million has done incredibly well this year. Actually, some of the best volume numbers of those sales that we've seen in years. So that market is not struggling. And we have an actually, under 4 as far as our months of inventory goes. So it is still more like a seller's market when it comes to those. But when you cross 1.5, there's a threshold there where it starts to become a higher months of inventory number, and we're more in a buyer's market. There's some segments above 1.5 that are even up to about 8 months of inventory, which is an extreme buyer's market. And that significantly, creates more time on market for sellers. They have to really do updates, which is costly. When you own a big home that's a custom home and has a lot of square footage, it costs a lot of money to do those updates, but it's worth it. Some of them are, and I can coach you through that, but you got to do the updates in the right places to attract buyers' attention and create a little bit of a wow factor, because, luxury buyers, they're not your average buyer. They can be extremely selective. And so you have to prepare your home strategically to face that kind of pickiness, right? Or selective nature as far as how those types of buyers make those decisions. And so that part becomes pretty critical. But, we've seen a lot of cash purchases in that range. But once you get above 1.5, there's less people that can get loans. If they need a jumbo loan, then that jumbo amount is over $832,000 in most counties right now. And so if they're going jumbo, the jumbo rates just aren't as attractive as they were back during the pandemic when they were at 2.5-3% to borrow jumbo money, which was incredible. Nowadays, you're looking at 6.5% to borrow that jumbo money at a high volume. That's a huge housing payment. A lot of cases above 10 grand for most people that are in that range. And so that's not as enticing for a lot of people that are trying to obtain financing. And so the sales that you see, a lot of them are cash sales right now that are going on with people that have done very well selling a business, selling other real estate, and now they have, that money to put down in cash and save a lot of money on interest. And a lot of these owners just haven't realized this, right? They haven't realized that they've lost most of their buying pool that was obtaining financing, and they're still pricing their home like they would have during the pandemic for that kind of demand level. That demand has shrunk quite a bit, especially in that 1.5 million and up range. And this makes those types of sellers resistant to market feedback and necessary price improvements. And these homes can really sit for an extended period unless they offer something truly unique as far as the features go, the design, or the location. And buyers are looking for something turnkey in that price range, because most of these luxury buyers, they've already been through a couple remodels in homes and they don't want to do that again. They would rather find something else that has everything done, that's turnkey. And when you have a buyer at that price point, there are options, so they can be very selective. They have that luxury to do that. So because this segment of the market's soft, it creates incredible opportunities for move-up buyers and relocators with strong balance sheets. Finally, let's examine the most challenging segment of all, properties that come with significant costly unknowns. This last segment is something that has a stigma to it, right? Homes that have structural repairs needed, or they have a known roof disclosure where they have to, the buyer's gonna have to come in and replace a roof or do significant work to the property. These types of buyers are more cautious than ever in the current market. They're not taking huge risks like they were during the pandemic with low interest rates. So the HGTV renovation fantasy of easy, affordable fixes is fading as cost rises in today's market. These homes can also present significant financing challenges due to lender scrutiny, rigorous inspections, and insurance concerns related to major issues like foundational problems, old roofs, or failing systems. Investors are also pickier now, as the cost of holding a property and executing extensive renovations has climbed substantially. For sellers, deep discounts or creative terms are often required to attract interest. These types of properties are best suited for cash buyers who have established relationships with contractors specific to the work that's needed on these types of properties and a clear understanding of the potential scope and cost of work. Now that we've explored the homes that are struggling, let's flip the script and look at the types of properties that are still flying off the shelves here in Denver. So the first hot segment of the market that I want to talk about are townhomes that are well cared for, oftentimes with a garage and a little bit of yard space that don't have high HOA fees. These low maintenance lifestyle type properties that still fulfill all those purposes of allowing you to park in the garage, allowing you to have a dog, to live outside, and allowing you to have a very low maintenance lifestyle are still very attractive, especially when the HOA fees are under $400. So this can be one of the best types of these properties is when there's not actually a real HOA, it's just a party wall agreement, and each owner is responsible for their own exterior and roof, but they are attached units. Oftentimes these come with a very low monthly fee just for covenants and restrictions, that sort of thing, but it's not like the $300 to $400 that you're used to seeing. And so these types of properties do extremely well in this market, especially when they're updated and modern. And so I've seen those fly off the market and go for very good prices, especially when they're in great neighborhoods, close to proximity with walkability and fun lifestyle type things to do around you. And these tend to fall in that mid-price range, between $350,000 to $750,000 in our market, where buying demand is still pre-clustered in Denver. And the combination of, lock and leave lifestyle and practical features like a real garage, ample storage holds strong appeal for both young professional buyers and downsizers. Inventory for these types of homes is typically tight, leading to faster sales as well. Building on that, let's look at another highly sought after category. This category refers to single family homes in the roughly median-ish price point in Denver. And oftentimes that's, $450,000 all the way up to about $850,000. And this is not the ultra luxury market. These are homes where most buyers are actively searching, indicating pretty high demand that's going on in those price ranges. And properties that are in turnkey condition, that have strategically prepared their home right and priced it right, featuring a good layout, decent yard, attract multiple showings, and they get offers on these properties. And it may take 30 to 50 days to get offers on these, but these homes are selling when they're done right. And especially when they have professional photos. I still see way too many iPhone pictures from agents on listing, but when they have professional photos, it's HDR, it looks great with 3D tours through the home. Buyers really tend to gravitate to those homes. They spend more time on them online, and then they schedule appointments to go see those types of properties. And it's just simple. These properties are hot because they check all the essential boxes, whether it's individuals or families that are looking, relocators that are looking to move into a home that they can move into without needing to do immediate projects or extensive renovations. Now let's consider the entry point into homeownership, a segment that almost always sees consistent demand. So we're talking about entry-level homes that are just below that main affordability ceiling. These types of properties almost always have consistent demand because a lot of people want to get out of attached living and get into single-family living where they don't share any walls with anybody. They don't have to deal with loud neighbors that are causing, ruckus in a community, and they have a little more space to breathe. And so I can understand why this segment does really well in the market and is continuing to do well in the market. For many of these buyers, purchasing one of these types of homes in the entry-level pricing segment of single family is financially much more advantageous than renting long-term. And you may be able to find a lesser amount to rent for right now than what your payment would be in today's market. But in the long term, without a high HOA and at a price point that makes sense for a lot of people, this just can help build your net worth over time. This segment sees competition from both first-time home buyers and investors looking for solid opportunities to create rentals. Even if the average days on market might be slightly up, any starter home that is clean, safe, and well-priced tends to move pretty quickly. These homes are hot because there's always a fundamental demand for the most affordable, decent option in any market, especially one like Denver. From affordability, let's shift to homes that blend classic charm with modern appeal, creating a unique draw for buyers. We're talking about mid-century modern homes, which is such a buzzword in today's market. Mid-century modern style is something that is a head turner, and people love the glass fronts on these types of properties. They love the unique character and look, and it's a whole style line. There's products for mid-century modern that you can put through your entire house that are classified as like mid-century modern style. And so people love to get these types of properties and then match it with everything that goes with it. And these homes combine older charm with architectural character and modern updates in kitchens and bathrooms, which is highly attractive to a specific buyer demographic. And the supply of these unique properties is limited, meaning that when a well-renovated one hits the market, it immediately attracts a crowd of interested buyers. And they're often located in established neighborhoods, known for mature trees, walkability, and strong sense of community. These homes are hot because their emotional appeal combined with their scarcity often leads to strong offers and quick sales. Buyers are willing to pay a premium for the blend of historic character and contemporary convenience. Finally, let's explore the ultimate forever home product that is seeing immense demand from a specific demographic. So we're talking about updated ranch and patio homes that are ready to go, turnkey. People love these. And there's a huge baby boomer demographic right now who needs to get this type of housing, avoid stairs, be in a position as they age where they don't have to go up and down to do laundry, to cook, to do different things inside their home. And so there's a huge need for this. And also the other thing is everybody tends to like ranches. So we're talking one level living type floor plans with a basement in some cases. Most people enjoy that type of living and they don't object to it. So you could have, a younger family with a couple kids and they're happy with a ranch style plan. You could have an individual that's happy with a ranch style plan. You could have an aging couple or aging individual that's happy with this. There's all kinds of solutions, for this type of floor plan. And the patio homes, are just basically ranches where they maintain the outside of the property for you and the landscaping for you. So you don't have to be outside doing work on your lawn. And so people that are in that, in their 60s, 70s, 80s, depending on where their health is, really appreciate these types of homes. And that's why these are doing so well, is because it just provides a better solution to some of the senior living that's out there that's that's incredibly expensive and helps them be in a home that feels like a home for longer in some of these situations. And so they are designed for a lock and leave lifestyle, which is really appealing to anyone who wants minimal maintenance and the freedom to go travel and visit family, grandkids, and that sort of a thing. Also, the desirability of these properties is significantly boosted by being in great locations. Close to shopping, medical facilities, and other essential amenities is really important for these. And there are very limited inventory of these types of properties compared to rapidly growing demand. And it's interesting here in Denver, we've always been very two-story, multi-level heavy. We haven't had a lot of these ranches. And so there's not a ton of inventory of ranch type properties. And we've got this, aging demographic of baby boomers that are a huge generation that are now all needing these types of properties. So that's why these are one of the hottest properties out there. It's not just a floor plan thing, it's a demographic thing and a timing thing for a lot of these people who need these properties. So if you're a buyer in this market and you're looking at these types of hot properties that are out there, you have to be ready to move on these things because they could go fast. So you want to make sure that you're pre-approved, you're ready to write an offer if you find the right home. And in competitive situations, you may have to fight for the home a little bit in this market. And I know that's not true across the board, but with these types of properties, believe me, it can be. And I wouldn't expect huge discounts on price. Instead, I would focus on negotiating favorably with just terms and structure in your own timing. And, make sure that you have inspection periods built into the contract, appraisal contingencies, rent back agreements, maybe if you're a seller who's trying to sell, and lean into your agent to identify value within that hot segment of the market. It's always good to be the lowest priced home in a segment. And that way you're growing with the other homes around you, pulling your value up. Your agent can help you spot overlooked listings, homes that might be slightly mispriced, or properties with poor photos that could be diamonds in the rough. And if you're buying in a cold segment where there's high months of inventory, you got to negotiate hard on both price and concessions. This is your opportunity to ask for rate buy downs, closing cost credits, and repairs during the inspection negotiations. Also, look closely at these stale listings. Some of them do have a lot of issues, but there are others that are just stale because they had a bad approach. And after reducing their price multiple times, they may be in a great spot to get a really good deal on a property like that. And you'll find sellers that are highly motivated. And be patient. You have more options and less pressure if you're looking at those types of properties that are less desirable. So take your time, find the right property, and secure the best terms. And if you're selling one of these hot home types, don't get greedy and overshoot the market with an unrealistic price. That's the worst thing you can do. You're just shooting yourself in the foot if you do that. And while you have leverage, pricing correctly is still paramount to attract maximum interest. Presentation still matters immensely. You have to do great photos, a compelling video tour, professional staging. That can help push your home into a multiple offer territory that you wouldn't be in otherwise. Use that strong demand to clean up terms in your favor, not just to push the price. This could mean shorter inspection periods, waiving certain contingencies, or a quick closing. If you're selling a cold home type, you have to price your home strategically, usually below market value, so that you can get something that will sell quickly and won't cost you more money by sitting on the market for longer. Anytime you can generate interest early on, you want to try to run with that and see if you can get a deal done. Fix obvious issues before listing your home. Consider pre-inspections that reduce buyer fear and streamline the process. And I would get contractors over to your house to provide proper maintenance on your property. Expect more negotiation and a longer timeline for your sale. Plan your move accordingly, understanding that flexibility will be your greatest asset. If after hearing all of this, the Denver dream is still calling your name and you're ready to explore making this city your home, I'd love to help. Relocating is a big step, and having a knowledgeable guide can make all the difference. My contact information is on the screen here and in the description below. Call or text me and let's chat about finding your perfect spot in Denver. And if you want to understand why so many Denver sellers are walking away from the market right now, go watch my next video, Why Sellers Are Giving Up, Denver Real Estate Market Update. In this video, I break down the surge in expired listings, the psychology behind seller fatigue, and how this shift could actually work in your favor. Click on the thumbnail on your screen and I'll see you there.